Ugh, the food is terrible again. It doesn't taste good at all when I have to eat it while looking at your gloomy face. It was a big mistake to marry such an incompetent woman. In fact, it was a mistake to be born into this family in the first place. I'm fed up with having two sick people in the house. Whenever my husband sees me, all he does is complain. I don't want his words to upset his bedridden parents. My name is Chloe. I am 34. We've been married for 5 years. We met through a mutual friend when I was 29 and my husband was 31. After graduating college, I lost my parents to illness one after another. My husband, Sam, proposed a serious relationship with marriage in mind, which made me believe he was a sincere person. Looking back, I think he was in a hurry to get married because all of his friends were getting married, and he didn't want to fall behind. The topic of marriage came up within 6 months of dating, and I went to visit his family. His parents welcomed me more than I expected and showed me a lot of consideration when they learned that my parents were gone. My mother-in-law helped me with the wedding preparations just like my own mother would have, and I was very grateful. So, I had no objections to living together with his parents after marriage. In fact, you could even say I was more than welcome. Chloe, the coffee you make is really good. Thank you. My deceased father was a great coffee lover, and I also love coffee due to his influence. I buy various beans and sometimes blend them myself. I was so into coffee that I wanted to open a cafe with my father in the future. However, after my father passed away, I somehow lost that passion. Now, my father-in-law truly enjoys the coffee I make. When I see how much he loves coffee and enjoys coffee I make, it reminds me of my father. Sometimes it brings tears to my eyes. On the other hand, Sam can't tell the difference between instant and brewed coffee from beans. So, even when I buy beans, he only says that instant would probably taste better. I also enjoy cooking, but Sam doesn't show any interest in food and has never praised anything I've cooked. He seems to think that anything edible is the same. But my mother-in-law enjoys cooking with me, which raises my spirits. I have always dreamed of cooking with a daughter like this. Plus, Chloe, you know a lot of recipes. You've been teaching a lot. Thank you. I enjoy cooking with you every day too. Sam had nothing to do with household chores, but my in-laws were always happy with what I did. So, married life was enjoyable. However, 2 years ago, my mother-in-law got sick. Although she didn't need to be hospitalized, she had to lie down sometimes. Chloe, I'm sorry. I'm feeling good today, so I can help a little with housework. Please, take a break sometimes. I'm fine. Please don't push yourself. But... That's right, Mom. Chloe's only good at housework. Sam, you shouldn't say that. Do you realize how much Chloe helps us every day? You can work free from anxiety because Chloe is here. You should show some appreciation. The wife should take care of the husband's parents. I can be grateful for such a thing. It doesn't bother me to take care of my mother-in-law, but it's unpleasant to be taken for granted by Sam. After my mother-in-law became bedridden, Sam started complaining that the house was gloomy. He started coming home late, and he started working more on his days off. Then I noticed foundation on his clothes, perfume lingering on him, and other suspicious things. When I confronted him, he admitted to having an affair. He said he met her at a bar where he went for drinks with his colleagues because he didn't want to come home early and help with caregiving. I was stunned by his lack of remorse and the absurdity of his reason for cheating. I was infuriated and frustrated to think that he was doing such things while I was taking care of the house and his mother. But my father-in-law was furious and preached Sam, who seemed to reflect greatly at that time. He apologized and promised never to cheat again. So I didn't divorce him. But to be honest, I was more worried about leaving my frail mother-in-law than wanting to stay with Sam as a couple. I couldn't imagine Sam taking care of his mother, and I thought it would be hard for my father-in-law, who was still working, to take care of her. Then my father-in-law retired when he turned 65. On the day my father-in-law retired, Sam was more interested in how much OASDI would be and how much he would give him than in appreciation his father's long years of work. It seemed that Sam was counting on his father's pension. However, his father's answer was completely contrary to Sam's expectations. "I can't give you any money from my pension." "What?" He said he would get pension just as much as he needed to survive. "What? So what was the point of me putting up with everything all this time? Looking after my mother and living with her?" "What are you talking about? You've hardly done anything to take care of your mother." "Just living under the same roof as her is as good as taking care of her." After this, Sam's verbal abuse got worse. Apparently, the noble attitude Sam took when he was caught cheating was because he was counting on pension he would get from his father. "I should have married a richer woman. I rushed into marriage and it's been a failure." "Stop it, Sam. Chloe has been nothing but good to you." "Shut up! My mother is nothing more than a nuisance." "How dare you say such things to your own mother?" "Oh, this house is so depressing. I'm seriously unlucky to be stuck with a useless wife, a dull father, and a troublesome mother." Despite his father-in-law's multiple warnings, Sam refused to listen. As a result, he started to work overtime and on the weekends. I can't help but suspect that he's cheating again, just like before. But then, my father-in-law stumbled in the garden and hit his back hard, ending up bedridden. Taking care of my in-laws was challenging, but they really cared for me and always seemed sorry. So it didn't bother me that much. However, it did bother me that Sam wouldn't help at all. I'm sure my in-laws would be happier being looked after by their own son than me, who isn't related by blood. "Sam, can't you at least help take care of your parents?" "What do I care? There's no way I can do that." "They're your parents. Can't you at least speak kindly to them?" "I got a bum deal with a wife. And I got a bum deal with parents too. I just can't catch a break." I can't help but feel that the real losers are the in-laws for having such a son. My suspicion that Sam is having an affair doesn't go away. But I can't leave the house, especially with my in-laws bedridden. If I leave, Sam would surely neglect his parents. I don't want to remain married to such a man, but I can't bring myself to ask for a divorce, wondering what would happen to my in-laws. Then, Sam announced that he was going to Hawaii with friends for Christmas. You're going to spend Christmas holidays in Hawaii? Yes. I'm not going to spend my precious holiday in this depressing house. I'm going to refresh my body and soul in the sun-soaked Hawaii. Don't you want to spend at least Christmas taking care of your parents and have a quiet family time at home? Not at all. Who would want to spend their precious vacation in this house? Who are these friends? Who I travel with is none of your business. Is it a woman? Shut up! What do you care if it is? Sam brazenly denied it, just like the last time. He must have been cheating again. I wasn't shocked to find out about it this time, but I was disappointed to see Sam's attitude. He showed no remorse. I bit my lip at the realization that he doesn't consider me his wife. I work every day. I can't keep going without some sort of fun. But Sam, you're married. Shouldn't there be some basic manners being spouses? There's no such thing. You're nothing more than a housekeeper to me, kept around to take care of my parents. That's terrible. If you have a problem with it, let's get a divorce. Don't get on my case, especially since you have no other home to return to. You should just keep quiet and take care of the house. I don't want to stay married to him after being treated like this. I'm dying to say, I'm fine with the divorce, and leave. I could handle it on my own. But now that my mother-in-law and also my father-in-law are bedridden, I can't bear to leave them behind. And if I take them with me, I don't know how we'll survive. Even if I decide to put him in care facility, I'm not sure if both of them could be admitted right away. There's also the issue of cost. Can my in-laws' pensions alone cover all of that cost? Even if I were to work, I'm not sure if I could earn enough to cover it all. I have my own life too. Thinking about it all makes me feel uneasy. But after going through all this, there's no way I can continue living with my husband. You're worried about Sam, aren't you? Yes. It seems we made a mistake in the way we raised our son. I'm sorry for causing you so much pain. You don't have to worry about us. You should do as you please. That's right, Chloe. You should be free. But I can't just leave. I can't leave everything to Sam. Chloe. The words of my in-laws, who care about me more than their own health, resonate in my heart. And the thought of not leaving them only grows stronger. And while I stay silent, my husband talks about his affair right in front of me, as if I've given him permission to do so. I'm going on a date with her again. I'll be late. Huh? Having a meal with her is definitely better than looking at your face. You do realize that I'm your wife, right? But you know I'm having an affair and you still won't leave me. That means you've accepted it, right? It's an affair with the wife's approval. Nobody has approved anything. Staying here means you have. You're a pathetic woman, clinging to me because you can't survive otherwise. It's truly pathetic that I can't say anything back to my husband, who gleefully says such things. Tears of frustration spill from my eyes, but when my husband sees my tears, he only laughs with more pleasure. Seeing my husband like this fills me up with despair. What am I doing? My in-laws keep apologizing to me for their son, but it's all so painful to see them like that. Maybe it would be better if I weren't here. Maybe because I'm here, my husband leaves everything to me regarding his parents. But even if I think so, if my husband doesn't do anything, I would regret leaving for the rest of my life. There's no guarantee at all that my husband will change. Then, on the day before Christmas Eve, my husband brought up divorce. I've decided to divorce you. I prefer younger women. Huh? But I can let you stay here as a housekeeper, which means things will continue as they are. You'll be living here for free, so consider that as your salary. With that, my husband laid out a signed divorce form in front of me. I see. Of course, I have no intention of becoming a housekeeper as he suggests. But I also don't want to remain his wife any longer. There are limits to how much one can look down on another person. I'm sure my husband knows that I can't abandon his parents. That's why he can say such things from a high horse. Knowing that makes me even more angry and frustrated. Well, take good care of them, will ya? The next morning, my husband left on a cheerful note for a trip to Hawaii. Even if I separated from my husband, I would like to stay with my in-laws. But such a convenient option isn't easy to come by. I had no choice but to let Christmas come and go. But the day without my husband was very peaceful. With no complaints thrown at me, the three of us laughed while watching TV, ate Christmas dinner, and although I knew I had to think about the future, I wished that this peaceful time could go on forever. And then, from the TV screen, I could hear the Christmas song started. Merry Christmas, I mused, when my father-in-law abruptly sat up from the bed. All right, let's get started, dear. Sure thing, she replied as my mother-in-law swiftly stood up. What are you? Merry Christmas, Chloe. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. But is your back okay? How about you? Are you feeling well? When I asked, they exchanged glances and grinned broadly. Then I received astonishing news from my father. On December 30th, my husband Sam returned from a trip. He called me in a frantic voice. Hey, what's going on? What happened? Don't play dumb. Where are you? I can't get hold of my dad or mom. Well, your parents have been quite busy with the Christmas hustle and bustle, so they're taking a rest. Where did you take them? Did you kidnap them? Absolutely not. Your parents acted on their own accord. They were supposed to be immobile. You took them somewhere without asking. They're perfectly capable of standing and moving around on their own. What? At the moment the Christmas song started, my in-law stood up. Seeing my dumbfounded face, my father-in-law said, It's the start of a new life. And laughed heartily. Apparently his back pain was temporary and had long since healed. My mother-in-law also had fully recovered over the last 6 months and was almost back to her old self. However, due to my husband's repeated verbal abuse, my father-in-law made a plan. My father-in-law told my mother-in-law about it, and she took the suggestion. Since Sam had joined a large company after graduating from college, his attitude had somehow become more arrogant. He was often out late, but they didn't worry too much since he was still single at the time. After marrying me, his parents had hoped that he would settle down. However, 2 years ago when his mother fell ill, he didn't care for her and even cheated on me. He seemed remorseful, but his father felt something was off. As expected, as his father's retirement approached, Sam started talking about the pension. Anticipating his greed, they could tell Sam was acting virtuous just to get his hands on the pension. But when Sam found out that there was no pension he could get, he showed his true colors. This confirmed the father-in-law's suspicions. In reality, my father-in-law received much more pensions, but he told Sam otherwise because he knew Sam was after it. If Sam had been kind to his mother and me, even without the money, they were willing to give him a share of the money. "It's a shame it didn't work out that way," said the father-in-law with a hint of sadness when he fell and hurt his back. "If you're bedridden now, you'll just be a burden." Sam had said so. That comment convinced him to stop considering Sam as his son. The parents decided to pretend to be bedridden and make preparations. He apologized for the trouble this caused me during that time. "What's this for sale sign doing on our house? Why is there a sign like that hanging on our house? Isn't the meaning obvious? Cut the crap!" So that house was put up for sale. We've moved out. "What do you mean? I haven't heard anything." "Yep, because I have no intention of living with you. I didn't feel like telling you. My father-in-law had bought a new house with his savings. The old house was supposed to be bought out by a real estate agent, and we were supposed to vacate by Christmas Day. But since we were not going out anywhere anyway, we were told that it would be okay to wait until yesterday. So we waited until Sam went on a trip. My father-in-law's little joke of moving at the sound of Christmas songs was funny. But at that moment, it felt like a new day had dawned in my life too. All that was left to pack, my things, which was a piece of cake. The movers were already arranged and everything was moved out by the 28th. "Dad, did he get enough pensions?" "He didn't tell you because you were after it." "What happened to the money from the sale of the house? I'm your son, so I have a right to receive it. It's my inheritance." "Your father is still alive, so it can be inheritance, right? You know, he's so determined to use up all his money before he passes away so that he wouldn't leave anything for you. He's even more energetic now." "He's still my father." "He doesn't want to be your father anymore. Oh, and don't worry, I've already filed for divorce." "But he bought a new house. When Dad passes away, it'll be mine." "Ah, that house. My father-in-law was kind enough to put it in my name. Of course, there's the gift tax, but I think I can handle it with property distribution I'm getting from you." "What?" This was the second time I had caught my husband cheating, and he had dumped all of his parents' caregiving on her while he was busy abusing her daily. I had been a housewife for 5 years, taking care of Sam as well. Considering all these factors, it was said that I could get a good amount of property division. My father-in-law had already consulted a lawyer about this. "I've put your stuff in a storage unit. Even though there wasn't much, I've given the key to a lawyer, so you'll be contacted by the lawyer later." "Where the hell am I supposed to go now?" "I don't know. Figure it out yourself." "That won't work. I told my girlfriend that I would be living in a house with a maid. Without a house or you, I'm going to look bad." I was astounded that he would say that to me at this point. I was reminded once again that he was a man who could only think about himself. I didn't even feel like talking anymore. So I just hung up the phone. Maybe it's true that you can't do wrong without getting caught. My ex-husband's Hawaii affair trip was spotted by his boss, who was on a family vacation at the time, and it was found out at his company. His company had very strict ethics rules, and my ex-husband was demoted, and his salary was significantly cut. As soon as my lawyer sent a message to the woman he was seeing, she disappeared. After that, unfortunately, I received numerous reconciliation requests from my ex-husband. There's no chance that I agree to that. He is now living on the edge, struggling to pay his credit card bills, which he had been lavishing on his mistress. He pleaded with the lawyer to get back together with me, crying about his current situation, but the lawyer refused right there. My father-in-law had recorded my ex-husband's verbal abuse, and the lawyer, who had heard it, was quite angry, saying it was unacceptable as a human being. So it was no surprise. My father-in-law had bought an old house with good air. I'm currently planning to turn it into an old-fashioned cafe. My father-in-law had said that he bought it with that intention. Every day, I exchange ideas with my father-in-law and his wife, trying to figure out what will work the best. I don't know if it will work out, but I'm going to give it my all. Seeing the happy faces of my in-laws every day makes me happier than anything else. I want to continue to live together, enjoying good coffee and getting along well.